Yeah.
Well, look, what I'm learning here is do not challenge anyone in this room.
So what's in the challenge?
Well, here's one. I am a games writer, and sadly unemployed starting today. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I want to thank Desert Bus for providing hours of entertainment during this difficult time. I'd like to ask everyone to go around the room and shout out the game that sticks with you the most narratively.
Narrative.
I just pulled something.
What was the question?
Oh,
What game sticks with you the most narratively?
the story from a game that you think about the most.
Oh, I know that's my answer to this one.
This is, I was formulating my answer before I even heard the end, and had to actually agree with myself. Os Tatakai Ondan, the Japanese version of Elite Beat Agents.
That's a great
And
answer.
it is it's a game that's told in vignettes of each song level is its own little story about how a person, like a kid, maybe has to study for their tests real hard to get good, and each time they're beset by problems, and they call upon the Oendan, the cheer squad, to cheer them on, and eventually the cheering helps them find their own power within them to finish their task. God damn it.
Yes.
But the thing is, all the stories start to tie together as the levels go on and on through the game, to the point where you're now, by the end of the game, all of the characters are involved with somehow fending off a meteor strike.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
okay.
becomes just an emotional bomb for me.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else got one offhand?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah. Garrett.
Mine
Make sure
is.
you, because you're not on one of these funky microphones.
yes.
Make sure you speak.
Project.
Where should I
speak
speak?
loud.
Where should I speak towards?
Well, you can
Right.
also, if you stand here, you're right under a mic.
Yeah.
Under mic?
If you stand on that little mark
Ooh,
there,
on the mark?
then there's a microphone right there. It doesn't look like a microphone, but I
Yes.
promise you it is one.
I'll stand here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So mine's kind of weird. Mine's from the Outer Wilds. If anyone's
Oh,
played
yeah.
that game, it's the thing about the story of that game is that it's extremely immersive, and you have to like discover it as you are playing. And it doesn't seem like much of a story until you get
Damn
kind
it.
of through the end.
What?
But it's such a poignant.
Every time.
I don't want to spoil the story by saying it
Yeah.
because, but the best part about the game is that you don't really know it. But it's like very like emotionally enriching, and I feel like the more time I get away from the game, the more I think about it
Yeah.
in like a philosophical way, and it kind of like appreciates over time, and also has one of the most impressive like DLC stories that like ties into the game that makes it feel like the game like had it all along. I've never seen a DLC that like completely like entered into the game that made it
Like it's been
better.
there.
Yeah, like it's like it was always there. It's like it was completely intended. The game feels empty without it, type thing.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is go play it.
Yeah.
It's like a Metroidvania, I guess is kind of how you describe it.
On a similar vein, actually, got one
Yeah.
from Soraya from Offsite Comms. Coming in from off screen because I feel very passionately about Star Control 2, aka the Urquan Masters. It's the only game I've ever played that truly delivered on the idea that knowledge is power, because every scrap of info you collect leads to substantially different interactions with the aliens you meet. To this day, I still think about the moment when I spoke the words and heard the answer. I really had to leave my computer and sit quietly for an hour thinking about it. Very cool.
Someone's not a silly cow.
Brett,
Yeah.
I have one.
go for it.
This is a game I played probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago, but it still sticks with me. It's Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah.
Supremely amazing game. It's short, like 4 or 5 hours, and that's stretching it. But the story is spectacular. They had like a Swedish film director like produce the whole thing. It's exquisite. And having a little brother of my own, it kind of like
Yeah.
yeah. But it was great.
Yeah.
Play it. It's phenomenal.
Awesome, thank you.
I mean, like, +1 to Garrett's recommendation. Outer Wilds is an incredible narrative and one of the best games I've ever played. However, I've literally not beaten it yet. despite playing it off and on for literal years at this point, at least in part because I don't want it to end.
No, I've had that happen.
Like
with
you
games.
know when you're like watching an anime or a TV series or something that you deeply adore and you're like 3 episodes from the end and then you just take a break for a little while.
Yep.
Don't worry about it.
And you never finish it.
Yeah.
At least that's
So
that's me.
I am going to, but like I appreciate the spoiler preservation. I'll give you a different answer though for one that lives that made a very very strong impression on me. It's not a it's not an unknown game. It is in fact a very well known game. Final Fantasy VI, aka Final Fantasy III here in North America, because I played that one when I was young, and I didn't know you could do things like that in a story. Like as a kid, I'd really
Yep.
only experienced like your standard hero's journey, and the whole the way that the game goes in the middle there, where you think one thing is happening and it absolutely takes this massive left turn, and no, sorry, that was the halfway point, not the ending. Keep going, idiot. Just absolutely blew my mind the first time I played it. I was like, I didn't even know you could do that in stories.
I mean, that's sort of how I feel about Final Fantasy VII
Yeah.
as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is why, as much fun as I had with the remake, and I really, really did have a ton of fun with the remake, and I'm looking forward to the second part of the remake. I'm absolutely gonna get it and play the crap out of it, and you know, it was great and everything. I've given up on it plot-wise because at the end of the first game, minor spoilers, where Red 13 starts talking about destiny, I started yelling at the TV because that was never the story
Yeah.
of Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was not a story about destiny.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII was the story about, like, not even about Sephiroth and all that stuff. It's about Cloud coming to terms with the fact that he cannot be the person he wishes he could be, and accepting that he is the person that he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thematic crux of that game. It is not about, oh, destiny, meh, 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 meh.
The
That is the
chosen
polar
one.
opposite of what that is.
Exactly. So the plotline changes to the remake drove me up the wall, and when you start having that giant Kingdom Hearts fight at the end,
Nice save.
but the rest of that game, the rest of the remake was a ton of fun to play, and I will still be playing the remaining parts of that.
Alex?
Yeah,
you
I've
want
got one. I think I don't play a lot of video games, weirdly, but one that I absolutely love and will love forever is Disco Elysium, because that game did
yeah.
some absolutely unbelievable things with storytelling, and it was
Yeah.
really accessible for someone like me who is bad at video games because it typically involves things like reaction time, and I just
Yeah.
can't do that because my brain doesn't work that way. But like the breadth of the game is really quite small in terms of like the map and everything.
Yeah.
But then the depth is unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Like fathomless. And if you make one slightly different dialogue decision between one playthrough and the next, you come out with an entirely new story and a new ending to your conversations with people in that game, and you get so much out of it, and from that I think you get like infinite replayability,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is also, and it's funny.
Actually, if I can tag onto that and something Andrew was also saying, the replayability and saving something for the end. And this is probably my second place one, which is a lot more approachable to North Americans. Nier Automata. I am still
Yeah.
holding back on the last ending on that because I fully expect it to wreck me. Again, because it's a game about choices,
Yeah.
and I'm not ready to make
Okay.
that choice yet.
Yeah.
I've got a couple.
Sure. What do you got?
One is one that will probably surprise no one in the fact that it's unpacking.
Oh my god, yes.
Unpacking is
Without
a
saying-
masterpiece.
Without saying a word.
And,
Good lord.
Yep, and clearly not saying a word resonates with me in terms of narrative experiences, because the other one is Hyper Light Drifter,
Ooh.
which is a game with no dialogue, very vague storytelling, and I found myself immediately engaged in trying to piece together what I could from what remained of the world and how it was portrayed.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful game, and God, I love it so much. That experience that was one of those games I wish I could wipe from my memory to play again.
Yeah.
I've got one.
Yeah.
This one definitely, well, it's the beginner's guide,
Oh, yes.
which, especially as somebody who's an indie game maker who messes around a lot, who has tens of maybe like I don't know how many unreleased projects I haven't made.
Yeah.
Some of which are just weird little. Here's a weird experience. Yeah, that game shook me to my core. It's kind of the opposite of I wouldn't want to erase my memory of that and go back in a weird way, but
Yeah.
that's gonna stick with me forever.
One of those, like, that was incredible. I don't want to do it again.
I don't need to do it again. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
If I can tag on to what Jordan was saying, actually, for games that have absolutely no dialogue, Play Dead's Inside is unbelievable. There, again, not a word was spoken, and it's
Yep.
just like side-scrolling, but like, you get the whole story with extremely little output from the game in terms of like what you would consider storytelling modes. Like, it's extremely visual, and oh my god, yeah, that was a really good one, and nice and short too.
Yeah, one I would add, I played it so long ago, I don't remember the actual story, but I just remember kind of like the feeling that I had all the way up to the ending, and then just how the ending actually just completely ruined me, was actually the single-player mode of Unreal 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
I don't think I made it to the ending of that one, but I did play that one. Yeah.
Well, I hope that helped.
Yeah.
I'll jump in with I think
Is that what this is from?
Sorry, we can't hear Corey.
Yeah.
Sorry, we heard. I'll jump in with.
Doom guy.
thanks. Yeah, so given the reputation, I think my recommendation is surprising, but Cyberpunk 2077, with a caveat here, has a single ending that just absolutely wrecked me. Having tried all the endings, there is, I think, a one true correct ending to that story. It's not a story about choice. It's a story that like is about Johnny Silverhand's character and not your own character. And
Yeah.
there's an ending that like plays that through all the way and like kind of completes that story. And if you go with that, that was an ending that really like stuck with me.
I have a lot of complex opinions about that game,
Yes.
but that's definitely one of them. That it's not something I actually didn't. Something I didn't like about that game, actually, was that, and obviously you can. Some people in chat actually mentioned that one just now, but that your character is irrelevant. That it is Johnny Silverhand's story. It is not about your character at all.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It was there's a lot of plot things that I think don't work, and I went through all the different endings and was frankly astounded at how they landed various different endings in that game. I was like, I thought some of the endings were better, like were sort of almost unearned in how good they were comparative to some of the stuff that had
Right.
preceded it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just ending the quality shift is wild. I mean, some of them were like the ending was fundamentally the same, but like the perspective you viewed it through was different. Completely, like one of them was completely unearned to me. The other one with the different perspective, with literally the exact same dialogue, and you were just in the other person's body. Worked, right?
Yeah.
And that is the ending I liked, right? So it's fascinating. That game is like the perfect go see a bunch of different things and like from a directorial view get cool, fun like insight into, you know, why stuff may or may not work.
Yeah. That was a great chat around the room there.
Yeah.